That's a ball part. You got everybody? All right, thanks everyone for being here today. We had a special environment in the woodshed Friday night. The crowd was unbelievable. The student section was electric. You know, the band was the best as usual. You know, the dance team, cheer team, Sparty, everything was at a high level. It was very impressive, and we really appreciate that. And that's the type of atmosphere that is a winning atmosphere in the woodshed. So we're just getting started with that, and so we was only going to get better. We want to make the woodshed, the Spartan Stadium, the toughest place to play in the country. And there's no reason why we can't. There's no reason why we can't do that. You know, obviously, congratulate Jacoby Wingmine for his awards that he got. He had an outstanding game with his sack production and just the way he played the game. Very high motor. Showed a lot of skill. Played hard. You know, he's a very unselfish player. We talked to him Friday night after the game, and we asked him to move the defensive end a couple weeks ago, and may not even have been that long yet. And he said, "Coach, whatever I can do for the team, you know, I'm willing to do that." And he did it. I mean, the first practice we had at defensive end, you know, he made the first 3 plays of the period in the run game. So he's a really good linebacker as well. He's versatile, and he's the type of guy that you can win with. You know, our program is built with guys that are unselfish, hard-nosed football players that are team guys, and he's certainly that. You know, Snow's going to be out for the year, Darius, and so I feel terribly for him. He's worked really hard, and he's playing at a high level. But he won't be with us for the rest of the season. You know, X is he's sore, and so we'll just have to see how he comes along with his treatments and things like that. But he'll be ready when he's ready. I told the players, do not talk about your injuries or anyone else's. I don't handle all the injuries with the players. So that's what I told them again today. It's not the first time they've heard that. In the game, I saw some good things in the game. In all 3 phases, offense, defense, and special teams. Some bright spots. We have weapons on offense. We have we're able to run the ball a little bit. We have some guys that they can make some plays, at every position, and we have a line that's just willing to get after it. And they're very well coached. Defensively, we've got some guys up front. They can play, in the front 7, and secondary is learning how to play a better brand of football as we go. And special teams, also we have returners that can make plays, and we have guys that can run and hit, and we have good specialists. We're just too inconsistent right now with what we're doing, and some of the things, even though there was some good things that we saw out there, I saw out there on the tape, our overall play was unacceptable. So we're back at practice. Today. This morning, just finished up a little bit ago. We're just challenging everyone in the organization to get uncomfortable and attack this week, and we need to get to the next level of our intensity, and we need to prepare to play 60 minutes this week. Not 10 or 20 playing spurts. We just have to raise our level of intensity of what we're doing. We have to attack everything that we're doing. When we went up 21-3, that's an opportunity for us to, execute more, play harder, play faster, hit harder, less mistakes. The assignment sounded, we didn't do that. And so, we can't be seduced by any success, any measure of success that we have. And so when you go up 21-3 and then you don't continue with the momentum and do some things, and that's a problem. So we're addressing that with our players, and as coaches. It starts with me and the staff, and then players. We have to communicate to the players on how we get things fixed, and so that's a big part of what we talked about this morning. We had a couple of guys that cramped up in the game, which is unacceptable. Had a couple of situations where we had guys with hands on their hips, in the game, which makes no sense. We have a standard of performance, that's a high level, and we weren't at that level consistently in the game. We didn't play complementary football consistently in the game, and so the standard is the standard. We can't accept that, and so it's all about what we do now, what we do next to get the outcome we want. It's all about the preparation. So right now we have one game focus. Akron come in here. I believe it was 4 o'clock on Saturday, and so we don't have time to waste. We have to get down to business. We did that this morning. We have to have laser focus, intentional focus on what we're doing, so that we can have a better performance and be more consistent in all 3 phases. We can play complementary football up to the standard that's expected here. So with that, I'll open it up if anyone has anything.
I wondered, kind of 2 parts here with Darius's injury, I guess. What did you see from the linebackers without him? What did he bring in the time he was there? And as kind of a second part to that, do you feel, because it seems like around college football there were some other dings and bruises, do you feel like, or I guess what's your opinion on the amount of tackling you guys can do in camp? And do you think that has an effect on some of those things going on right now?
It didn't have any effect on that particular play, I don't think. And so, we all talk about as coaches, and the NFL scouts talk about when they come in here about, so we go through camp and we have injuries, and I even talked to NFL guys about like their preseason approach, and they're saying they're getting to the point where they don't even want to hit in practice because they don't want to get guys hurt, so they can't play in the game. But then when they get in the game, they haven't been hitting as much, and then they're telling me the injuries are way up, early in the season. So we hit as much as we can, and we have the shoulder pads on. We go at a tempo that's called a thud, where we'll hit the guys, we'll strike each other and deliver blows, above the waist, high and hard, and through the whistle, and then with the emphasis of getting yourself in a football position where you can strike a guy and club him up and wrap up, and then let him run, and then the rest of the guys just tag off, so we get the leverage on the runners. With the emphasis being, not being on the ground, and that's really important. So like in camp, like half of the injuries that we had, camp were a result of guys being on the ground when they weren't supposed to be on the ground. Being out of control, not having contact balance, being on the ground, someone tripping over a guy, or a guy falling on his shoulder, getting an AC deal, something like that. So, that's all technique and balance and body control. So, I don't think that what we're seeing in particular from our team right now, any injuries as a result of not having enough contact. We even get to the point sometimes where we feel like we have to pull back from some of the contact because, we're trying to get our guys to the game. We want pressure ready for the game. But I see how the linebackers, so like I said, before the season started, we have more depth at the linebacker position than we had a year ago. And so, as you remember, Winmont was playing linebacker just a couple of weeks ago. So we had Winmont, and Cal, and Brule, Bassoon, and Snow, and Ma, guys that were, in there, taking reps and things like that. So, we still have, good players at that position, and they're all going to have to play for us. And they're all going to have to play winning football for us to be able to get the job done. But what Snow brought to the table was, first of all, he's a good player. He's really smart, and he gives tremendous effort in practice. He's one of the guys that we would point to on a routine basis, like every day, giving maximum effort to the ball. We actually stopped giving extra effort plays, like extra effort production to guys. Points, you want to play, you grade every play, and you get production for the day. We used to give extra effort points for guys, and we stopped doing that, because guys like Snow, that's how they were playing every play, and we said that's the standard. Why are we giving extra effort points for? That's how it should be all the time. So we just eliminated that, and he was one of the reasons why, and so he did that. He's got versatility, as you know. He played defensive back a year ago, and so he has an understanding of the coverages. He's comfortable in space, and from the day we moved him to linebacker, he showed that he's going to come downhill and strike offensive linemen as they come off the ball and violent shed and finish on the ball. So, he's a very versatile guy that can do a lot of things for us. So, it's next man up, at the linebacker position and in the secondary.
Mel, going off that a little bit, sort of similar question, I guess, at safety. Who are those guys? What did you think when you were able to watch the film of Kendall getting in there and Jaden getting in there once X went down? And just what does that look like and having to get those guys prepared?
Yeah, well, again, like we talked about how we're going to play the players before the game, and so we knew that, KB would be, next man up, Manning would be next man up. And so when they got in there, they did some solid things. KB forced a fumble. Manning, that was his first, action out there on defense as a true freshman. It didn't seem like it was too big for him. And he's done a good job in camp, and Justin White is a guy that we've had, as like an emergency safety for us, because he can do a lot of different things. He's really, really fast, and he's tough, and so he'll probably get more reps moving forward, like at the position, like in practice, not just being aware of it and being an emergency guy actually going in there and practicing taking reps, at both the safety spots. So, it's next man out for us. Like I said during camp, we have to coach every player to be ready to play winning football for us. Because you can get real thin real quick, even in college ball, when you got 85 guys in scholarship and all the walk-ons, it gets thin quickly. But the guys behind the guys, aren't ready to go. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to do it, because those are the people that the opponent finds those guys on the field. They poke around and find your weaknesses and exploit those. So again, you can only get strong with your weakest links, so people can't have any weak links. And our standard performance has to be at a high level everywhere, because the lowest form of the productivity or performance that you accept becomes your culture, as an organization. So, from top to bottom, we have to get better and make sure guys are ready to go. So, that's what we're here to do, is coach them up and get ready to go out there and play.
Well, two things. First, when you say cramps are unacceptable, is it each player's,
What's not acceptable?
cramps are not acceptable, is it each player's responsibility to stay hydrated? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it's my responsibility to make sure that the guys are properly hydrated. And so we have to put together a plan to make sure the guys, follow the plan and we're on top of it. We shouldn't have guys cramping in these lines and, in September. I can't think of a good reason for that.
The other thing is, there's a natural energy to the opener. Everyone's amped up, they're excited. Do you have to concoct any of that for game two because it's not the same environment?
Concoct some energy for
Because it's not the opener. It's there's natural excitement for the opener. Game two is a little different, or is it?
I mean, we're super. I'm motivated. I believe we're super motivated to.
Thank you.
We have a lot to prove. In terms of how we play on the field. So, and I heard talk about, for the Western game, there wasn't going to be a lot of people at the game. It's a holiday weekend. It's Western. And I didn't see that type of environment. So I would think that our fans, our students would show up and be ready to go for us, for the school, and I can't imagine that we would need any type of manufactured hype or whatever to get ready to play a football game, especially after what we did out there on Friday night. I can't imagine why there would be any type of. We'll just have to see. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Mel, as a linebacker going, we saw a lot more of Ben Surin on Friday than we had before. And he just looked like he was a step faster from what we've seen in his progress from when you got him last year to now.
Ben Surin? Yeah, so Ben he's just fast. I mean, he can flat out run. Like he's talking about like a linebacker that can run sideline to sideline and do that. And that's who he is. So that's part of his game. That's part of his skill set. Is his speed and explosiveness that way. And he had a really good spring. Like he improved this spring, and he kind of built on that, and he got better and better as the spring went and became more consistent in his performance. And then when we started camp, he was doing okay, and then he started to play well again, and then kept that going throughout the camp, and so he just carried that into the game. So what we saw in the game on Friday night was what we have been seeing in practice on a consistent basis from him. That's the type of player that he is right now, and we believe that he can, that he's going to continue to get better, because his mindset is like he's always working really hard. He was kind of like Snow in that regard. Like he doesn't loaf. Like he's always full speed in everything that he does, and he's dead serious about his performance. So guys like that get better. He cares. He's got a chip on his shoulder, and I have a lot of respect for him. Just the way he competed to create an opportunity for himself to be on the field, to be able to prove that he can make plays. And he did that, and that's what we all need to do. We all need to prepare and prove it. Then when we get the opportunity, then take advantage of it, and then not be seduced by success, and use that as like motivation to do more, not less. So certainly he's earned everything he's got to this point, and I don't anticipate him slowing down at all.
No. Last year, clearly, Kenneth Walker was the focal point of this offense. A lot of the talk about this offseason was sort of replacing that, however that may happen. Peyton Thorne would be like a likely guy sort of stepping up, even though he was obviously key last year. He wasn't too pleased with his performance on Friday. There were obviously some good things, maybe some things he could have done differently. I wonder now that you've watched the film, what you thought of him, as well as both the running backs who are all sort of in tandem replacing that production.
Yeah, I thought Peyton did some good things in the game, and it doesn't surprise me when he comes up here, right after the game and says he was disappointed in his performance because he's a perfectionist. And he's always, that's just how he is. It's never good enough. And so if he misses a throw, he's, he holds himself accountable for that. If he tries to do too much, same thing, I like some of the things that he did, but obviously he's got some room to improve, just like everyone else, out there. And he's going to do that. I don't think there's anyone that's more determined than him playing, great winning football. We just have to play at a high level. Our level of execution is not consistent. And I don't like that. None of us like that because it's all about consistency and performance. We look really, really, really good, and then sometimes we look really, really, really bad. And so that's what we need to do. But I'm glad Peyton's our quarterback. I know that much because I know what he's made of. I know how he's going to compete. I know how he's going to approach this week. He motivates me how bad he wants to get better.
And the running backs as well.
Yeah. So I think you can kind of get a little bit of a picture of like what our plan, was going into the game was to, use both backs and run the ball some, and have our play action and take our shots and things like that. And when you look at Berger and Jay Brew, I think you can see that both of those guys are capable of, carrying football for us and being productive. As long as we have good offensive line play and the tight ends block and the receivers block, and Peyton gets us in and out of the right plays, and those guys take care of the football, and we can get production at the running back spot, and that's what we're going to do.
Mel, I know you've often said when you guys are looking through the portal for players, it's not just the on-field, but you are trying to evaluate like cultural locker room fits as well. With Jacoby, were you able to sense that sort of selflessness with him when you're trying to recruit him out of the portal and everything? Just, on paper it would seem like he's a guy who's a senior, he's already made that transition to linebacker, he was an all-conference guy, and maybe someone in like his mind, this is sort of my shot to make it. Now you guys are asking him to do something different, obviously it works out, but more of the story, did you detect that sort of selflessness when you were recruiting him at that stage?
Yeah, he was a guy that he was hungry with a chip on his shoulder, and he wanted an opportunity to do something, and so we wanted him here, because of his skill set and the type of guy that he is. It's like he's a mature guy. He walked in the door preaching neutral thinking, in our workouts. I kept hearing him saying neutral thinking, and he had just got here, so where did he get that from? The guy, he studies, he paid attention, he knew what he was getting himself into, and sometimes you have to trust the process, and we talk to our guys about that. Trusting the process and attacking the process. It doesn't do us any good, okay, to recruit him and bring him here. And we know that he wants to come here because he wants to better himself as a football player, and he wants to win at a high level. It doesn't do us any good to put him in a situation where he can't be successful. That doesn't help us. That doesn't help him. That doesn't help our recruiting moving forward. It doesn't make any sense to do anything like that. So, when we sit him down and have a conversation, say, hey, here's the situation. Here's what we're thinking, and this is why. And here's how this benefits us, and here's how this can benefit you, you know, and then, we're relying on our experience, coaching players and, developing players and helping guys get to the NFL and things like that, and saying, hey, listen, here's what I see, here's what we see, here's what you can do for us, here's the productions you're going to have, that you potentially can have with doing this like this. You can always play linebacker, and we'll still give you reps there, but here's how you can impact this team, and here's how you can impact the game, and everyone's looking for pass rushers. It's hard to find rushers, and you can see, the key to playing great defense is you stopping the run and making the quarterback play poorly. If you can stop the run and affect the quarterback or rushing coverage, then you got a chance to play good defense. And if you can get pressure with 4 guys and not have to bring additional guys, and leave guys hanging in the back end, things like that, or then you can pressure on your terms, and not feel like you just have to pressure to get to affect the quarterback. So you can mix coverages, you can do different things, and you can see where he can do it. He's not the only one that we have. I mean, we have Boulay out there. Boulay's one of our best rushers. You put him on the edge, and he's making plays. And we got to put guys in position where we can say, hey, listen, trust the process. We wouldn't put you in position if we didn't think it was going to be a good thing. And yeah, I mean, hey, we're dead serious about winning football games here at Michigan State and doing what we got to do for the green and white. But at the same time, and that comes first. That's above any coach, any player. Michigan State, what's best for the team, okay? But like beyond that, we're trying to make sure we want to help our guys get to whatever level of football they want to play. And so, hey, you can play stack linebacker, you can be a 3-4 outside linebacker. There's a third of the teams in the NFL that are playing 3-4. They're looking for outside linebackers, guys that can set the edge of the run game, and guys that can rush. They're looking for big linebackers that they can come downhill and strike offensive linemen and guards, and so you do all that, and everybody's looking for guys that can rush, and not just third down. First, second, and third down, and not just third down rushes. And so you're the complete package. You're not going to be a jack of all trades and master of none. We're going to make sure that you can proficient at rushing. And when you do play stack linebacker, then you can be a good stack linebacker. So when the scouts look at you, they're going to say, hey man, this guy's one of the best rushers that we've seen. Hopefully that's what they'll say, and the guy can set the edge in the run game. He plays hard. We've seen him play stack linebacker. He does that. He can play special teams, and he's a team guy, and he works his butt off, and he's just an unselfish guy, and he's a rugged guy. And he's hungry, so that's a good brand to have, moving forward. Because who's now looking for players like that, and because he's what you call an player. He's this, he's this, he's this, he's this, and he's a great teammate, and he's unselfish, and he's a leader, and he's got a chip on his shoulder, So I think he trusts what we're doing, and he'll continue to do that, and all the players need to do that.
Just as a quick follow-up, do you see the NFL putting more value on versatility these days versus maybe 10, 15 years ago you sort of had to fit in a specific box a little bit more, or no?
I mean, it just depends on the team. It depends, guys are drafting for need. They're drafting, and bringing in players, based on what they need in their system and their scheme. So the more you can do, well, the more people are going to be interested in you, And so, and that includes special teams value as well, So, but you have to be good at what you do, And then the NFL's a projection as well. They're projecting, hey, we get this guy in our system to do this. He's going to be this type of player now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. He's going to be a starter. He's going to be a backup. He's going to be a backup. He's going to be a starter. He's going to be a teams guy. This is what he can do based on what we've seen him do, like in his college production, things like that. And so when you show that you can do these different things at a high level on a consistent basis, again, that can only help you, as long as you're consistent in what you're doing.
Hey, Mel, we heard a lot going into the season how good the passing game potentially could be, but because we knew that Jaden and Trey were really the only proven option. So you go out there in the opener and you throw 4 touchdowns to 4 different players who are not Jaden. One, how encouraging for you as a coach is that to see? And 2, had that been what you've seen in camp, or were you even a little surprised about how you guys threw the ball?
No, great question. We weren't surprised by anything that we saw just because we see these guys every single day. And we don't put guys out there hoping that we can get production. We have to see it, in practice. And so, like, Bernard, I think I mentioned him a few times when asked about him in camp. He's a good player, a good young player, potentially get better. Coach Hawkins is a great football coach. And he knows how to get guys ready and get them ready for the moment. Everyone was talking about Keon all camp, so I don't think there was any surprises there. There's nothing that he did in the game that he hasn't done in practice. We know Trey Mosley is very, very consistent. He's a really good player. I'm not gonna say that he's an underrated player. Because we appreciate him and we know how good he is and what he can do for us. Barker, he's had production at where he was before, and he had production in camp, for us. There's no surprise there. Jay Reed did some things in the game and he was open quite a bit. And then he got a few yards in the return game. So, and we have some other guys as well. They can make plays, so they just have to be patient and keep working hard. And when the ball comes to them, make plays. Like when we saw Malik Carr, we like to use our tight ends in different ways. So, he and Tyler Hunt as well. And then, we have some guys like Fitzpatrick was out there. We'll see how many reps that he continues to get. Montoya has been a little sore, but he's starting to come around a little bit. And so we saw him towards the end of last year, make some plays as well. So we have some guys. I love this football team. Don't get me wrong about this team. I absolutely love this team. I'm in love with this team. I adore this football team. This team is a special group of guys. That's why we can't allow ourselves to not raise the level of our intensity this week in everything we do in every detail. Because you look out there and say, hey, look on offense, they got some weapons out there, and they got a quarterback, they got a couple of backs, and the line is, they got some linemen in there that can have some experience. We got some big guys in there, they look like they can run the ball a little bit, and defensively, you look and say, shoot, in front, we misfit, on the quarterback drawing it, we misfit like a counter play, and it's like Skiller to know when the guy ran forever, he's still running, but then you say, guys started fast and did some good things, and we're flipping the field and special teams. We just can't allow ourselves to leave anything on the table. We have some unrealized potential that we got to get out and get some productivity consistently, like immediately.
Just a quick follow-up what I asked. How much do you think it does for the confidence of those guys? Like Jeremy and DJ, the first game is Spartan with 4. Jay won $1 plays for them 4. Hayden look in their direction. I'm not going to ask you about Keon's confidence because I'm saying.
Yeah, well, he ain't the only one that's got confidence. I don't know if you guys have been around DJ Barker, but he's pretty confident in what he can do. And Jeremy Bernard, he doesn't lack confidence either. It's hard to go out there like that if you don't have confidence. But when you see guys out there, young guys out there producing like that, it's a good sign. And I think that comes from preparation. The coaching that they're getting and the work they're putting into it on a consistent basis. You can go out there and play with confidence when you know that you've done it in practice. And also when you have good players around you, all you gotta do is do your job. You don't have to try to do too much.
Wrap up with Matt, Jeff.
Just wondering what you thought of the NCAA last week adopting the new portal windows and how you think that might affect just the process.
NCAA about what?
The portal windows?
What about them?
Just what you think of them being put in and how that might change the process for you guys.
Yeah, so when you talk about portal windows and things like that, you're trying to have some, you want to be able to predict some things and plan, you know, and have some processing. So the more parameters that you have around something like that, the more you can plan and have more process. And I think you can eliminate some of the doubt and some of the questions that you have, like on the roster, and then the timing of things, and like how many guys you can take, how many guys you can't take. You know, it becomes a roster management, challenge. And so the more parameters we can put around things, it's just going to help us just plan more and have a tighter process. So, that's kind of how I feel about it. With those things. Did you ask me about something else? Just that?
No, just that.
Yeah. Okay.
No, you said X was sore. Does it look like he's not going to need surgery then? And it seems like you've had a pretty special relationship with Darius. We even saw that at your radio show. At a time like this, can you share anything you said with him? How's he doing? And how important is a coach like that at a time like this?
Yeah, so X, like I said, he's sore, and we'll just have to go through the process with the treatment and things like that and see, what all he's going to need. But that's really all that I'm willing to talk about right now. So with Snow, yeah, so it's unfortunate, and the only thing that I said to him, after the game when I saw him, as I was leaving this press conference and headed back to the locker room, I told him I talked to his dad, and it's good when you got pedigree like that, and his dad, I said, it's just told his dad, and I played basketball against his dad, and when I was in high school, and I was like, yeah, man, it's just unfortunate, he's doing such a good job. And his dad told me, he said, that's just a different type of work that he has ahead of him, a different type of work, which is true. That's the approach we have to take, he's got to take. It's just, he is where he is right now, and so the type of work that he's going to be putting in from this point is different than what he's been doing, but it's still going to be work, it's all work. I told him, when I saw him after the game, I said, remember I told you this, because I don't know the extent, I still don't know the full extent of everything. We still have some more stuff we're trying to get back today, like images, things like that. I said, remember I told you this, don't let anyone tell you what you can and you can't do. I said, remember I said that, don't let anyone tell you what you can and you can't do. I said, I don't care who it is. And so, we're just going to, injuries are part of the game. It's very unfortunate. So we, but we're gonna chop. He's gonna chop. We're gonna chop with him. And we'll see how things turn out. I wouldn't count him out. I mean, he's just too good of a guy. He's got too much of the it factor. He's got the pedigree that runs deep in his blood.
I'll leave you with the two separate parts here. First, you mentioned about Jaden. I noticed you pulled him from the kickoff returns in the second half after he went out. I wondered, one, if you keep with him, and two, if what you saw with Bernard and Broussard back there. Mm-hmm. And then the second question is kind of what you saw with the offensive line and their blocking, particularly in the fourth quarter when things started to roll a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I said, with Jay Reed, we're going to put the guys in a position to give us the best chance to win games. And that's what he does. He's a receiver, and he's a return guy. And he's very, very good. So he keeps telling me he can play corner too. He wants to play football. We're going to play as many guys as we can, and guys have roles. I think we play like 20 guys on defense or something like that. you know, play a lot of guys on special teams, so, I really didn't see much from those other guys in the return game, in the game, you know, but obviously they're very capable. You see what type of athletes they are, what they can do, and they have speed and bursts and things like that, so, what else?
The offensive line,
Yeah.
in particular, the tight ends too on the edge, how they bring it out.
Yeah, so the offensive line is improving, and I like what I'm seeing from that group, from where we were in the spring, and having all of the injuries and things like that, and not having guys even out there, and then you know, seeing those guys like start to, you know, get back, you know, during camp and get to the point where they go out there and play in a game. And some of the younger guys having to step up, or guys that not as much experience having to step up. I see the group that potentially can be what we want them to be, you know, in the run game and in pass protection. Same thing with the tight ends. I mean, all those guys are willing blockers. They know if they don't block, I mean, there's just no chance for them to get the ball ever. And so they take pride in that. Same thing with the receivers. And so, I mean, Coach Cap is, you know, he's one of those guys that, you know, that you need to have on your coaching staff. He's one of those guys that, you know, you need someone like him to coach your line, you know, because he's going to get the most out of those guys, you know, every single day. And whatever they can be, they will be, because he's coaching them. And he gets those guys to believe in the technique and the process and the grind and everything, and how hard you have to work. And so, like, whatever they can be, how good they can be, that's what we're going to get out of them. And so, and then, you know, as the game went, you know, we were able to get some push. And then, I mean, I think we got like 7 yards on Bird on his first touch. It wasn't like we waited until then before we get some push, but, you know, that 4th and 1 was a big play for us, you know. And so, yeah, but we didn't on both sides of the ball and on special teams, we didn't really accomplish what we wanted to accomplish in terms of physicality and wearing them down. And that's a credit to them and their conditioning and their coaching and their toughness and that program. That's a good football team that we play, and they're going to win a lot of football games for sure. But you know, we gotta get more physical. We gotta get more nasty. We have to be more relentless on what we're doing in order to, you know, dominate in the trenches and play the type of football that we need to play, especially at home in an opening game like that. You know, in front of the world, packed house like that, we need to be more consistent, more physical, more dominant. So when that starts up front with the offensive line, defensive line.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming.